For only the second time in PSAC history, two top 10 in the nation teams are playing, and tonight they meet here at Hamer Hall, where it is your California Vulcans taking on the IUP Crimson Hawks. Thank you all for joining us. My name's Stephanie Smith, alongside me, the Mike Ford. And Mike, you know, these two teams, they've really come out undefeated in the PSAC West. California did it big against Edinburgh last game out.
Well, it was definitely a big victory for them to come out with that victory. 72-46 was the final score. Start off a little rough, and they sputtered a little bit early on in offense. The first half score was 27-20. They really struggled from shooting from the field, and then they just turned it on in the second half. You can see, you can do the math in your head. I really can't do it right now. But to go from 27 to 75, that's a lot of points. So they definitely came out big, like you said, in that game. Brooke Williams had a back-to-back 30-point game there, another double-double for her. And Kayla Smith, I also believe, had a double-double. So the team kind of put it together as the tail end of the game went down.
And IUP, they had a huge win over Gannon over the last weekend. They won 65-52, and Jazinga Tracy, 15 points in that first half for IUP.
15 of her 21 points came in that first half. And if you really want to see a display of offensive individual players in this game, you look no further than this game right here. Jacinga Tracy is without a doubt a wonderful player. And the Crimson Hawks were able to come away with the 65-52 victory. That's their seventh straight win. They were able to come over with that game against Gannon. And of course, it sets up this showdown today against California. And it's a big game. It's a rivalry. Like I said at the end of the game last week, this game is going to be big. Either it's played here in Hamburg Gymnasium, over in IUP, or out in the parking lot. It's going to be a big game.
And looking at the PSAC West standings, the only two undefeated teams left in the Western Division, California and IUP, both with identical records. This is so much more. We also just got regional rankings in California 1, IUP 2, just where we expect them to be because IUP took that hit to Millersville.
Yeah, we definitely knew these two teams were going to be the ones that were going to be competing for this conference, so it's no shock to us this early on in the season.
California moves up to number 3 in the USA Today coaches poll after the loss that Northern Kentucky had. But they're very close to Northern Kentucky in the points race for that. Wouldn't be surprised if Cal wins this game against IUP. They move up to 2 after this weekend. But one thing you need to know about this series, it is almost tied, 30-29. IUP is leading the series. This is for bragging rights right now because these teams have met 3 times in the last 2 seasons with the PSAC championships. But we need to highlight 2 players here for this game. And I'm picking Brooke Williams for Cal just because she came off her 9th double-double this season, averages 21.5 points per game, 11.6 rebounds, leading rebounder and scorer in the conference. And again, she averages at least 20 and 10 in the nation. But you're going to be surprised my pick for IUP. I did some little bit of insight.
Okay,
Lacey Clore, she's number 32 for IUP. She comes off the bench, averages 10 points, shoots 44% from the three-point line. As you see Coach Jeff Dow right there, an amazing coach. We'll get into him a little bit later as we get out of this open. But you want to look at Lacey Clore. She is a threat off the bench for this IUP team. It really helps out when Jazinga Tracy gets in a little bit of trouble.
Well, you're right, and if you're saying it's coming down to the bench or see how deep a team is, and you're right in the talent, and she was able to come away with 13 points that last game. It helped out Jacinga Tracy definitely coming off the bench, and I think you're right there. And I would look at Brooke Williams as a player to watch in this game. I'd also look at, Kayla Smith. She's going to be important in this game, but a player for IUP that's going to be important is Kylie Miller, and she's going to come, and she's going to be a senior, so she knows this team. She's seen them for 4 years, and she's come in, show some leadership. This is a pretty much mixed team. Both teams are mixed with good veteran presence and good young players, so it's going to be interesting to see who are the big players and who are the ones that kind of choke in this game. But if I'm a betting man, I'd say Brooke Williams and Kayla Smith are the 2 players for California that's going to definitely step up big today.
Whether it be in basketball, football, or chess, it's a big matchup. Cal versus IUP coming up next here on CUTV. And if you did look, Jeff Dow, again, is the head coach of this IUP team. You may not recognize him. He was the Anderson coach last year, took over for Cindy Martin, who left last year, went to Youngstown State as IUP wins the opening tip-off. And there's Amber Dubiak right there getting into the head of Kylie Miller, getting that ball out of bounds, getting a nice slap high five from her head coach, and California's going to take over possession.
We've definitely seen her do that the last couple of games, get more active on the defensive end and started at Lock Haven, and really she's starting to grow into that role defensively.
So Dubiak on the outside gets it inside to Brooke Williams, who puts it up, and it's good. A great way to start for the Vulcans. 2-0 over IUP. 19:34 left to go in the first half.
And you can see California here coming up with a little bit of a press, trying to continue to keep the pressure as they've been doing pretty much all season long, not really allowing the team to set up their half-court offense.
And IUP, they're just struggling a little bit here. It's tipped out of bounds by Dubiak. She's just she's going after the ball. She's a very defensive-oriented player, and that's, I think, why she has earned the starting position over Shaquetta Mance today for this game.
Well, I think most of the perimeter players for this defense, and that's Amber Dubiak, Crystal Andrews, Brooke Williams do a spectacular job of playing the lanes defensively. They get in between balls, they're able to tip them away, and that's why the team averages so many turnovers a game. And steals. Again, we have 2 players on this team that average, close to. That should be a shot clock violation.
Oh, yes, it was, and that's a great defense there by California. This is how they're going to come out. They have seen IUP play probably more than any other team. Coach Heather was talking on Coach's Show today. She's seen so many tapes. She knows how they work out in the morning. She knows their stretching regimen. She knows everything about this team, and that's going to be a huge advantage. As there's a steal there by Kirsten Filla, running quickly for IUP. She's going to go kick it back out, goes to Lozen, but there's going to be a traveling call as Crystal Andrews is coming in for the steal.
As you can see here, you can see her travel here, and Crystal Andrews again trying to check the ball in the air and she's getting more actively defensively. Again, Brooke Williams, Crystal Andrews, top 2, tied for number 1 in the conference and steals the game. So both players played, again, like I said, they play in these lanes very well defensively.
Head fake by Johnson out to Williams. There's a wide open Dubiak over here. She's going to take a 3. It's good for Amber Dubiak. 5-0 is the score. 18:21 left to go in the first half. The gym gets loud here, Mike. And this is exactly what IUP didn't want to happen early. They played in California already earlier this season. It was in the PSAC Wiviak, a little bit of a crossover matchup. They know how hard it is to play here. Again, no strangers, as Lozen's going to take that shot. It's no good. Rebounded by Dubiak on the outside. Gets it to Andrews quickly. Back out to Williams. Williams fakes it. Gets it to Lindsay Johnson. 3. It's no good. Rebounded by Lozen. Gets it quickly to Filla. Filla inside to Tracy. It's going to be tipped out by Crystal Andrews, but picks it back up. Lindsay Johnson with a tip out. That's something you don't see every day.
Yeah, well, she's another player that's, I think all 5 starting players for Cal are very active defensively, getting their hands on balls and either playing zone or man. They're very active.
There's going to be a foul after the ball hits off the official. It's going to be on Brooke Williams, as quickly we're going to see my pick for an impact player, Lacey Clore, come in the game.
Definitely one thing I have noticed about IUP's coach Jeff Dow is he's very active, and I think I noticed that in the little tournament Cal had here when they played Salem International and Willing Jesuit, those 2 teams. He's very vocal, even when they were up 95-0. He was still getting on his players, hustling, getting down the court, setting up the plays properly. So I think that really has added a different attitude to this team that had a disappointing loss last year in the playoffs to California. They'll definitely tell you that. If you talk to any of these players or the coaches, I think they'll say they have a sour taste in their mouth for that loss.
So Kylie Miller makes that shot. Makes it 5-2. Still California leads. 16:55 left to go in the first half. And something you'll also see with Jeff Dow, he's only ever coached women's teams, as that shot's good by Brooke Williams, but he's only ever coached women's teams. So he knows how this works, and he's a very good coach. Anybody would be happy to have him. He's a great person as well. That shot goes up, it's no good. And the team is just genuinely happy, I was told earlier in the game. As Andrews puts up a shot, it's no good. Rebounded by Tracy. We really haven't talked about Jazinga Tracy that much. California doing a good job down low, keeping her quiet.